Hi, welcome to another video blog. Culture versus strategy. Peter Drucker had the famous quote that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and this is from one of the world leaders on strategy. It's funny how in life we wouldn't actually say things like it's nutrition versus exercise, or family versus friends, or work versus hobbies and interests. We actually all believe that those things need to coexist. They need to be in balance for us to have a sustainable life, even though we know deep in our heart one of those is actually more important to us overall. In this, you're going to realise that it's about culture and strategy. You'll understand the difference between the two, and then which one is more important in the longer term, which should drive where you put your time and energy as a leader. So what's the difference between the two? Well, to keep it really simple, strategy is about what we do and where we're going, whereas culture is about why we do it and how we do it. So you think about which of these is more important. Well, we come back to a definition of importance. We like to think of it in terms of which of these is going to drive a more sustainable business in the long term, meaning I'm going to perform better in the long term and we're going to last longer as a business. And when you think of it through that lens, we know that culture is going to be more important. Okay? Companies with great cultures perform better over the longer term than their industry peers, and they have longer business life cycles. And to just test that with yourself for a minute, if you're comparing two companies or even just comparing two scenarios for yourself, just imagine that we had a great strategy and a poor culture, compared to us having, say, an average strategy but a great culture. In which of those scenarios do you think you would last longer and perform better? Really what we want to achieve and where we want to get to and why these coexist is, as leaders, we want to have a good strategy but make sure we've got a great culture. That's the thing that's going to help us be a more sustainable business. So why is this the case? Well, when we're focusing on culture, when we make culture more important, it means we're making it people first, meaning our people first. And there are four key reasons in why culture makes us a more sustainable business in the longer term. First is we're going to have talented people who want to help. We're going to have great people that want to come and work for our business. We're going to have talented people within the business who feel that they can thrive. We're also going to have partners. We're going to have suppliers, even some of our own clients and customers and external stakeholders who are going to want to help us because we've got a culture of looking after people. So that's the first reason why. The second is innovation and agility. So when we get culture right, we create an environment for innovation, and then innovation at speed, which is agility, because we've created an environment for people to be able to contribute ideas, challenge each other, solve problems together at rapid speed, so we find ways to change and pivot when we need, whether the times are difficult or not. The third reason why is safety and risk. Safety is the number one priority for every organisation. But safety is actually about people looking after people. You can have the best processes, you can have the best frameworks, you can have the best safety strategy you like. But if you haven't got a culture of people looking after each other, you're never really going to get the safety results that you need. And the other is risk. Okay, risk isn't necessarily about a risk register or a risk framework. It's about everybody in the organisation really buying in, taking ownership and having custodianship for the potential risks that could impact our business. And when you've got a great culture, nobody wants the business to fail. So they're more aware and more taking greater ownership of those risks. Okay? And the final one is the customer experience or the client experience. Right? Companies with the best customer experience, you just know, have great cultures because they've got people who are really passionate, engaged and happy. Okay? The customer comes second in great organisations, and Richard Branson had a famous quote, which is, if you take care of your people, they'll take care of your business. And these reasons combined is why we know that culture longer term is going to create a more sustainable business than strategy. So what are the first steps? Well, number one is to just reflect personally as a leader. How much of my time do I spend thinking about creating strategy versus how much of my time is spent thinking about influencing and shaping culture? And it really should be 3-to-1. 75% of your time should be focused on building and embedding a great culture in the organisation to allow us to deliver and execute our strategy. So that's the first step. The second step is, as we shift that time, to just start a conversation about culture. Talk to as many people as you can within the leadership team or the organisation where you're asking 3 simple questions. First, what do you think culture means? Just see what people's understanding of that is. Second is, how would you define our current culture? What do you think our current culture in the organisation is? And then the third question, what sort of culture do you feel we need and our people need to take us forward into the future? The insights that you get from these 3 great questions are going to help you with the third step, which is where we start to look at creating a plan for the future. Really good cultures and really well understood cultures and articulated cultures have the strategy embedded in it. And when you take these insights, it's going to allow you to find the perfect balance between culture and strategy, which is where you, as a leadership team, create a really great strategy for your culture. A plan for how you're going to build a culture that's going to make you a more sustainable business. We wish you every success.